lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I hope you have all had a wonderful, wonderful day. So I have been a bit pants at updating you guys lately with pretty much everything on my channel. So, yeah, this is a bookish video, as you can see from the bookshelf behind me. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in September, as well as the books I plan to read for October. Today is the 5th of October. And to be honest, I think this video is probably going to go up as soon as I finish filming it. So yeah, let's just get into it. So I planned on reading 4 books, I believe, in September. They're the only ones I wrote down, so I'm assuming I only plan to read 4. I read a few more than that, so let's get into it. So the first one I planned on reading was the second book in the Throne of Glass series, which is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It did take me a little bit longer than I expected to get through it. But I think that was my brain more than anything else. So I was bloody reading this with my lovely friend Nikki, and we had a good old chat about the first book, my thoughts, my feelings. And she told me not to get too attached to the characters because anything could happen. And I think that got stuck in my head, and I was like, but I love the characters just the way they are, and if anything happens, it's going to be really sad and it's going to be horrible. So it put me in a bit of a slump reading it, because I was like, I'm too scared to find out what happens. I don't want to know. I just want to be totally happy and content in this world and nothing to go wrong, which isn't what happens in a Sarah J. Maas book. So I read on and I loved it. It was incredible. There was a sad moment. I cried. And yeah, it was just incredible. I appreciate Nikki's warning, but I am a sucker for a book with a happy ending, and I don't know if that's going to happen with these, so we'll have to wait and see. But yes, I gave this one 5 stars. It was incredible, and yeah, if you haven't read them, yeah, it was really good. So there's that one. I also planned on reading Anne Frank House. This is a book with lots of like fold out pages, all about things to do with the Anne Frank house, how it came about, how they lived in the house, the people who helped them, what happened to them once they were caught, all that stuff. And it was good in terms of how a real life non-fiction book can be. Obviously, it's a very sad story. But this is just a factual based book. The only thing that I really did struggle with is the pull out pages. So every other page you have a page that folds out again, and it was just a faff to read, because I quite like to read laying in bed or laying on the sofa. So with this one I had to like properly sit upright and outfold each of the pages, and I was just constantly worried about like creasing them or scuffing them as I put them back in. So it wasn't a fun read, but it's a very interesting book. It's very well put together, and yeah, provided you don't read all the time laying down, you'll probably quite enjoy it. Yeah, it was a good book. I don't know if I'll read it again, but it had a lot of really good facts in there that I didn't know from the other 2 books I read. So yeah, there's that. Next, I plan to read Sally Thorne's Second First Impressions. She is the same author that wrote The Hating Game, which I loved, but I just didn't get to it. There were other books I kind of wanted to read, and I think September, even though I read a decent amount, I slumped a touch. So yeah, it didn't go as well as I hoped, let's put it that way. I next had down to read Ransom Riggs' Hollow City. This is the second book in the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children series. It was good. I liked it. I think there's a lot more going on in the first book. The first book is very much set the scene, figure out who's who, meet the peeps. And yeah, the second book is a lot more involved, a lot more is happening, just generally a lot more. So yeah, I thought it was good. I gave it 3 stars. I only had 1 5-star book this month, and that was Crown of Midnight. All the rest got 3 stars. So yeah, it was a bit of a meh kind of reading month for me, but I'm glad I managed to finish those 3 of my set TBR. Next, I read this one, which is by Sophie Dahl. It's Miss Dahl's Voluptuous Delights. I think I spoke about this in my September TBR video, I'm not sure. But basically, this is a cookery book. And in it, she has lots of different recipes for the different seasons. So it's like winter breakfasts, and it'd be winter lunches and winter like dinners. But before each section, so before each season, she writes a little bit about her life coming up to where she is now, and reading and writing her cookery book, and being how she is involved with food. And yeah, it was really nice. It was really kind of what's the word? It made me feel like I was there with her. Like when I'm listening to her talk about the recipes, I can imagine the food that's being cooked, and I think that was atmospheric. There you go. And I think that was a really nice thing. I know there was a TV series of this. I did mention it a while back. And some of my lovely subscribers said that they actually watched that TV series, but I can't find it anywhere. There is one episode on YouTube, I believe, but I just can't find it. It doesn't seem to exist, which is really sad, because I would have liked to have rewatched it. But yes, so I read that one. Then I was kind of reading these. So Colleen Hoover's November 9 and Get a Life Chloe Brown. Chloe Brown I started, I believe, in August. And I didn't really pick it up at all in September. So that one is probably just going to go back on the TBR shelf for now. And then November 9, I am currently reading on Libby on my phone. There is a bookmark in here, but this is not current. So this isn't where I'm actually up to. So I need to sort of probably update that bookmark. But yeah, I am reading it on my phone. Again, it's kind of a slow pace because there are just other ones I am more invested in at the moment. So yeah, there's that one. And then the other three, so I read two of the Agatha Raisin ones. I read Fairies of Frytham and Witch of Wickenden, and I gave them both 3 stars. They were okay. It is very kind of samey with those books, but I'm starting to get irritated by how much Agatha is fueled by the men in her life. And I'm not saying that, you know, women can't, you know, want to follow a man and, you know, be really invested in what they're doing and kind of change their behaviour, but I just don't think you should have to. I think she's supposed to be this big, strong, independent woman who ran her own business for years, and she just seems to be completely fueled by what the men in her life are doing and how she needs to impress them. And it drives me nuts. Just wear your hair messy, don't put any makeup on, who cares what they think? So yeah, that's been a bit of a struggle with reading them at the moment, but they are a quick and easy read, so I do tend to have them on my reading list each month. I believe Witch of Wickenden is the 8th book or 9th book, and there's about 25, I think, maybe more. So yeah, we'll see. There'll be an ongoing thing in my wrap-ups, I think. I don't kind of plan to read them anymore, but they are on my Libby app, so if I come across them in the month and I feel like reading one, I'll probably pick it up. And then the last book, which I actually finished on the 1st of October, but I'm putting it into September's reading because I did majority of it in September, was Christopher Paolini's Eragon, which I don't have the physical book to show you because I did receive them from a friend and then I donated them to another friend because I found them on my Libby reading app, and they're chonker books, they're huge. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to read that physically. I'll listen to the audiobook. And I gave that 3 stars. It was good. It follows Eragon, who finds an egg, and it turns out to be a dragon, and he becomes a rider, and it's kind of about dealing with the king of his kingdom, who wants to have control over the riders, various different people, elves, dwarves, men, all that kind of thing. It's a little bit Lord of the Ringsy with dragons. But I really enjoyed it. I did only give it 3 stars because I felt like it was quite simple, quite easy going. And I think as the series goes on, hopefully they will get a higher rating. I don't know, we'll see. But I did enjoy it, and I do have the 2nd book on my holds list on Libby. So eventually, when that comes to me, I will be reading that one as well. Right, so that is the end of my September reading. So I read, how many books was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I read 7 books in September, and I'm pretty pleased with that. They weren't all the intended ones, but I am kind of finding my reading is a bit kind of floaty. It's ebbing and flowing at the moment, and I'm going with it because there's not much else I can do. I don't want to go into a slump. So books that aren't really gripping me, I'm kind of just leaving to the side, and I will return to them at a later date. But yes, so the books that I plan to read in October. Let's pick up my stack. I actually didn't think it seemed that many, and then I got them all together and was like, oh, actually, that's quite a few. So yes, the first one I plan to read, let's find it, is my buddy read with the lovely Nikki. So it is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series, Heir of Fire. I have not yet... Where am I? No, I am up to date on this now. Me and Nikki have been reading a certain amount of chapters every day, and I am currently up to date. I am really, really loving this one. It's got a new character in it, and I'm just, I'm so excited by his presence. And I don't know where it's going to go, and I'm scared, but I'm also excited, and I'm just loving this series. The characters are so likeable, and yeah, I'm loving it. So yeah, that is the only one I've actually started, though, so far. So the others I can't tell you what they're like because I don't know. But that one I have started. I won't obviously read you the back, but it does follow Selena, who is an assassin for the King of Adelan, and stuff happens. That's all I can tell you without ruining anything. So yeah, there's that one. I am still, as I say, sort of halfway through November 9. That's not on my TBR, but if it gets read, it gets read. So there's that one. The other one I wanted to talk about is also another buddy read. So me and Nikki are doing 2 in October. And the second one is this one. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's Defend the Dawn by Bridget Kemmerer. It's the 2nd book in the Defy the Night series. And I cannot wait to be back in this world. I love Tessa and, what was his name, Coric. And I just, I loved it. And I have heard things about Bridget Kemmerer's writing that when she gets to the 3rd book, it all just kind of... So I'm really hoping that she doesn't do that with this trilogy because I will cry hard. But this book came out in September and Nikki messaged me and was like, do you want to do 2 buddy reads? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I do. So yes, we are going to be reading Defend the Dawn. I loved it. I loved Defy the Night. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. There's a bit of cheese in there, but there's intrigue, and it's just so good. But again, can't tell you anything about this one because it's the 2nd book. But I can tell you that Tessa is an outlaw in the 1st book, and she has a friend who helps her steal the moonflower petals to cure the sickness that is in their kingdom, and stuff happens. Again, I can't tell you anything without ruining it, so I'm just not going to. I think I broke my nail. I broke my nail. Sorry. It's a sad time when I break a nail. It like ruins my whole day. But yeah, so they're the 2 books that I have on my list. The next one is the 3rd book in the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children series. This is Library of Souls. I'm intrigued to see where this one goes. I'm pretty sure when I read them before and I listened to them via audiobook, I listened to books 1, 2 and 3. So this is probably the last book where I have any idea what is happening. So after this one, we will go on to sort of unfamiliar territory. So yeah, I'm excited. It follows Jacob, who is in the peculiar world. And again, it's another one I can't really tell you anything about because it's the 3rd book in a series. But if you want to know what this series is about and you don't want my crap explanations, then definitely look them up on Goodreads. They're a really good series. I believe this is a middle grade series. But yeah, it's a good book. Don't watch the film. It sucks. read the books. Then next up, I have The Society for Soulless Girls by Laura Stephen. So this one is new to me. I've got she knows. A couple of months ago, I believe, Nikki had this on her TBR, and she sent me a text. I think she was only a few chapters in, and she was like, "Oh my god, buy it now." And I listened, and I bought it pretty much immediately. And I thought this would be a great book for the spooky October month. It just says, 4 dead students, 10 years ago, 4 teenagers lost their lives in the North Tower murders at the elite Carvel College of Arts, forcing the university to close its doors and the case to go cold. 2 haunted girls. Now Carvel is reopening, and fearless student Lottie is determined to find out what really happened. But when her roommate Alice stumbles upon a soul-splitting ritual hidden in the library and the North Tower claims another victim, time starts running out. One chilling secret to destroy them all. Can Lottie and Alice uncover the truth before the centuries-old curse consumes them both? So this, I believe, is Laura Stephen's first kind of go at a fantasy novel. She did write the exact opposite of OK, which was really, really good if you haven't read it. So I am excited to see where she goes with a fantasy. So yeah, there's that one. Next up, I don't know if I'll get to this one. We shall see. But I've put it on here anyway. It's Midsummer Murders, Death in Disguise by Caroline Graham. So this is the 3rd book in the Detective Inspector Barnaby series that she brought out. And yeah, I've watched the TV adaptions. They're incredible. I read the 1st book and really enjoyed it. The 2nd book, I actually think I DNF'd it about halfway through because I really struggled. So I don't know how this book is going to be, but we shall see. It just says, the village of Compton Dando has long been predicting a bad end to the peculiar goings-on up at the lodge of the Golden Windhorse, the Elizabethan manor house inhabited by an unlikely bunch of New Age oddballs. And James Carter's mysterious demise promises to bear out all the ghoulish rumours. But although the coroner deems the death to have been an accident, much to the general disappointment of the crowded gallery, it is not long before Chief Inspector Barnaby is summoned to the commune to investigate a cold-blooded murder. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, I don't know. We'll give it a go. I found her writing in the 2nd book really difficult to kind of follow. I felt like nothing was happening for a really long time. So I'm kind of hoping this one throws us in a lot quicker. Because nobody actually died in the 2nd book until over halfway through. And when you watch the TV series, that murder happens instantly. So I think that's why I struggled to get into it. But this one sounds like it happens pretty quick as well. So we shall see. Right, next up, it's not the whole book, don't panic. Stephen King's Different Seasons. So this is a book of 4 short stories. I did read, what is it? What's the name of it? Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, which is the spring book. And I really enjoyed it. I did finish it. I think I finished it yesterday, actually. So I'm not going to count it as September. I will put it on my October reading wrap up. But my plan for October's reading is to read The Body, which is the autumn book in this book. And it follows, if you've seen the film Stand By Me, that is where you will recognise this story from. It follows a group of boys that go into the woods near them to look for a body. And I thought that would be a really good story to read in October when it's kind of spooky. Halloween is coming, and yeah, I'm just generally very excited for it. I've read the book once, maybe a long, long time ago, from my dad's copy, but I've never actually had a copy of my own. So yes, I will be reading the autumn story, The Body, and I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, I won't count that as one book because the whole book I will count as one when I eventually finish it. But once I've read The Body, that'll be 2 stories out of the 4 read. So yes, there's that one. Right, then next up, you're probably going to think I've gone mad, but we shall see. So the first one I have is this one. It's a chunker. It's, where are we? 689 pages. So this is the Haunted House Mammoth book of stories. It says, expanded with great new stories, this is the biggest and best anthology of hauntings ever. Over 40 tales of visitation by the undead, from vengeful and violent spirits set on causing harm to innocent people tucked up in their homes, to rarer and more kindly ghosts returning from the grave to reach out across the other side. So yeah, it's got loads of different stories in it. There are 40... yeah, around 40 stories altogether. And I plan on reading this over October and November. Because it's quite a big book, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself because I have the other ones to read. So that's why I've spread this one across 2 months. And that is what all of these are for. So I've sectioned it out so that in October I will read 18 of the stories, and then in November I will read 19 of the stories. So it's fairly evenly split. And yeah, I am just very, very excited to kind of see where this goes. But yes, there are a lot of post-it-y things there, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it. We shall see. But again, like I say, I'm not going to put loads of pressure on myself because I've got other books that I want to read, and I think these should be kind of read every now and again, and be a good, fun, kind of interesting thing. So that's why I'm allowing it to go across the 2 months. Now, next up, this one has intimidated me for a while, and me and Dre did try and read it together at one point, but it was just kind of really hard going, and we couldn't get fully invested in it, so I'm doing it to myself. It's Stephen King's It. It is 1,067 pages long. This will possibly be the biggest book I will ever read, or have ever read up until now. Again, I've sectioned it out, and the plan is to kind of read one of these post-it notes every day throughout October and November. Again, I'm spreading this across 2. And I have not actually read 5 days worth of pages yet, so I need to pull my finger out my butt and get on with it. But yes, so the idea is to read this book over October and November, and yes, hopefully finish it. Again, like I say, I don't want to stress myself out too much with it. I'm going to try my best, and if I manage to read more in October than I managed to read in November, then that's fine. Or if I don't manage to read as much in October as I'd hope, maybe I'll catch up in November. Maybe it'll even go on to December. But my plan is to finish this before the end of the year. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe if you didn't have all the other books on your T-bill, you could just focus on this one. But this is a very dense book. I've watched both films and they're very heavy going. There's a lot of information packing in here. And yeah, I don't want to give myself the opportunity to DNF it just because it's too much. So that's why I'm giving myself more leeway. But if you haven't heard of it, it says, Derry, Maine is just an ordinary town, familiar, well-ordered for the most part, a good place to live. It is a group of children who see and feel what makes Derry so horribly different. In the storm drains, in the sewers, it lurks, taking on the shape of every nightmare, each one's deepest dread. Sometimes it appears as an evil clown named Pennywise, and sometimes it reaches up, seizing, tearing, and killing. Time passes and the children grow up, move away and forget, until they are called back once more to confront it, as it stirs and coils in the sullen depths of their memories, emerging again to make their past nightmares a terrible present reality. Yeah, I know that I will enjoy the story. I've never read the book, but I know that I love the original film. I don't like the new adaptation. It's just not for me. But the original film, I really, really enjoy, and I do try and watch it every year, give or take. So yeah, I'm excited to see where the book goes. And yeah, that is my October TBR. So I hope you guys enjoyed the September wrap-up, and I hope you guys enjoyed the October reading, well, planned reading that I have. I am going on holiday for a week mid-October, so I don't know how well I'm going to get on with all of this reading, because I want to kind of give myself time to chill while I'm away, but I probably will take a book or 2 with me. But yeah, that's everything. Wish me luck. If you would like to, you're welcome to try and read it with me, and yeah, If not, wish me luck, and I'll let you know how I get on. But yeah, that's everything for me. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.